Alrighty. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt.
Hi everyone, it's Trinity.
We are so stoked you are here for a second week. You came back.
You survived the first one? You came back for more punishment? We're proud
You
of you.
survived. We survived, and we watched more shitty movies.
Shitty movies for you to save you and your mental health. Oof.
I don't know if my movie saved my mental health, but you can be the judge of that.
Oh yeah. My film did not help my mental health either.
Well, that is unfortunate. But today's category is action. So, in the place of a therapist, we are here to entertain you and help your mental health. So,
That's right.
let the music play. All right. Welcome to Fringewatching, the show where we watch the shows and movies on streaming that no one is talking about. Again, my name is Matt.
Hi, I'm Trinity.
We already said that, but just to
But we
reinforce
just
it.
tell you who we are every time. Every time we say hello, we should introduce ourselves.
That's
That's
true. It's only polite.
It is polite. And how do you do? And how do you do today, Matt?
I do well. How do you do?
I'm good. I'm less coffee than last time, so hopefully I'm not as frightening. Uh, I've
I've
switched.
had coffee and soda.
You daredevil.
I
I
know.
had 2 cups of coffee, and now I'm working on a nice glass of herbal tea, darling. It is a
Mhm.
rose mint herbal tea.
Oh, that is like very fancy. That's like Pinky in the Air fancy.
I like to swing my pinky in the wind.
There's nothing like a good Pinky in the Wind.
Especially when holding a cup of tea.
And if you can't see, if you are listening to the Ears edition, Trinity is wearing a very nice hat today. It has
Yes,
a picture of her cat.
that's right. I'm obsessed with my cat, Chatter Chunk. She's a Siamese cat. She's so cute. I have a pin of her on my head since I got booted out of my normal space and I'm in my roommate's room.
Oh.
But
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know this was your roommate's room.
yeah, this is not my room. Oh goodness, no.
I
I'm in
thought it
the
was like a spare room. I don't know.
Oh no. Yeah, my room's being worked on today, so I'm in the lavender lounge, as we call it.
Lavender Lounge.
Every room has a name in our house because we like to pretend that we're fancy.
Oh, you should name my room.
I was gonna name it Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice. I don't know about Beetlejuice.
Oh well,
It
it's
does
because
have black and white stripes. Yeah.
the black
I
and
was
white.
thinking,
Every time I see your room, I think Beetlejuice. Also, Beetlejuice is the closest star to us besides our sun.
okay. All right. I see your point. Okay. It's the Beetlejuice room.
And you're just so bright. You're just a bright star.
I'm just a big wad of gas.
That's right. Floating in space, attracting things like gravitational pulls and being important. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So today's category is action. We will be discussing action films. We have both watched some pretty bad movies. Mine was Hell Comes to Frogtown, and yours was.
Mine was Samurai Cop, which apparently is a cult classic, and I don't understand how.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we will find out and be the judge of that for ourselves. If you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, we are now on a whole bunch of platforms. You can get us on Spotify. You can get us on iHeartRadio, on Stitcher. We are coming soon to Apple Podcasts and Pandora. And that is all thanks to a little company called Buzzsprout. Without further ado, let's go to a quick break and we will be back.
Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it would be fun to have your own talk show,
It is
podcasting
fun.
is it is fun. I mean, it is fun. It's easy, it's inexpensive, and it's a fun way to expand your reach online.
I
Um,
love Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is what we are using, and they are awesome.
we love you. I mean, Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform, which is great
Like
for us.
so many platforms. Like we're on Spotify, we are on iHeartRadio,
Boom,
we are on places I haven't even heard of,
boom,
all
boom.
thanks to Buzzsprout. They
Yeah.
just you like put it up there and then they just send it out like pew 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 pew.
Join hundreds, thousands of podcasters. Already, people are using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world.
And
Just
the
do it.
great thing that we can offer you, because we're cool people,
Right. We like the
is
hey.
when you sign up for Buzzsprout and start a podcast, you will get a $20 Amazon gift card if you follow the link that we have in our show notes. So it helps support our show. It helps support you. You get your $20 Amazon gift card. You can use it on whatever you want. So that's what we're able to offer our listeners.
Right. So Buzzsprout,
Buzzsprout.
get on it. Get out there and start podcasting like us. Yeah, so we're gonna start off with moi, Samurai Cop. The name itself tells you of a serious tale before you even watch the beginning. Okay, here's the thing. I wanted to move away from the 80s. I did that last week. My heart is in the 80s. But I decided to creep into the 90s.
Oh,
Yeah.
aren't all of our hearts in the 80s? I was
mean,
born in 1990, but
but you dreamt of the 80s in the womb. I
that's
understand.
true.
Like you were having dreams in the womb.
I was conceived in the 80s, which I would prefer not to think about. But
Oh no, I try not to think about that stuff either. I'm like, with other people it's fine, but with myself, I don't want to know how I was made. I don't want
hi,
to know.
Mom.
Hi, Mom. Oh, hi, your mom. Not my mom. Again, the internet. So this Samurai Cop was made in 1991, or was released in 1991. It doesn't have a rating, which is really weird because they started in the rating system in the 80s. So it's not rated. And I'm like, not rated? This is a whole
Unrated.
This is an unrated movie. Get ready.
Yeah,
So
now you got to pay extra for that. That's like, the special edition DVD.
Well, and I think you're right. I think I'll get to it. I'll tell you why I think it didn't get rated because it's so bad. It just went under the current. But so I did watch it this time. I never used Tubi before, and I was like, oh, Tubi. I will try this. Yeah, and I have to say, like, this isn't like me being like, yeah, use Tubi, but I definitely had like a really super good experience getting on there. It was really easy. It was like so many choices. All the quality was like high definition that I picked. I started watching other stuff. I was like, wow, like Bama Jam.
It really is like the poor man's Netflix, but it's good. I like it.
And in some ways, like there's stuff that I couldn't find on Netflix or on Hulu or on paid services I could find there, which I thought was really bizarro.
It gets more
like,
niche.
It is. And they definitely have a lot of more funky things to look for in there, which I super appreciate. So, Samurai Cop. It opens up on a scene of a gang. Now this gang, everyone's like, the boss is here. And it's a really weird gang because there's like this foxy redhead chick who is like putting her arms out to the side like Superman kind of pose. And like the shoulder pads in her like dress jacket. Oh, like she just looked super powerful. She also had a really nice power thing. Okay, I'm just saying. This is like they kind of.
I thought you were gonna say she had like guns in her shoulder pads or something.
No, she don't need no guns. She is the gun. So yeah, it just like opens up to this like strange kind of like gang, and you're like, wait, what's going on? And they're some of the like old school head dudes are like talking. They're like, oh yeah, the boss is trying to make trying to make friends with the Chinese gang. So this is a Japanese gang.
Mm.
They're trying to make friends with the Chinese gang. It takes place in LA. And then somehow it gets announced like, we got to go over and talk to the head gang in Chinatown. So they go down to this like karate place in Chinatown in LA. And, the gang members come up and they're like, Mr. Lee, are you going to be our friend? And then the guy
Mm.
answers in Cantonese and he's like, no way, Jose. And then all of a sudden, the head dude, and this guy, I love him. He's like my favorite character. Yamashita. Yamashita, he has this tiny little ponytail and this amazing beard. He's like super buff, but he's all about living bushuri. Bushuri. I can't. I know I'm saying that wrong, but it means in Japanese is like the honor of the warrior, the warrior code. So this guy,
Okay.
he hangs around and he's got like this knife, and he just goes up to Mr. Lee, guts him, and then they have a shootout on the rooftop of this
Wow.
like karate place, like because I don't think it's called a dojo if it's karate. I don't know. I never took martial arts as a kid. So
We'll just say it is,
we'll just say it's a
and
dojo.
people can correct us in a
They'll
comment
correct
section
us. They will
somewhere.
let me know that I said Bushuti wrong. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. My Japanese is trash. I'm not going to lie. So the gang, that their name is the Katana Gang. So literally, they're the sword gang, and they're a
Mm.
young fledgling. They're kind of like an offshoot of the Yakuza, and they are like really big on drug deals. This is how they're doing it. So
There's a
all of a
lot of
sudden,
gangs going on here.
there's so much gang action.
Why
It's,
can't we just have two, like West Side Story?
I mean, technically there is only two because they killed the other one. Like
Oh,
they,
okay.
they,
Well,
yeah,
fair.
yeah. Like Fujiyama, which is the head dude of the Katana Gang, his gang
Mm.
annihilated Mr. Lee in the Chinese gang, and then after that, everyone kind of like they're like, oh, these guys, they're crazy. We're not gonna be fucking with them because they just walk around with swords in LA and just kill people. So,
Oh, that
right,
Los Angeles. People always walking around with swords, killing people.
they're just walking around with their little tiny swords. Actually, this guy had a big knife. I mean, it was big. It was real. I don't even know how he put it in his suit jacket. He didn't get any blood on him either, which was really annoying. Like he looked pressed, like in a three-piece suit, walking around with a sword, just like pig sticking people, and then
Hmm.
yeah,
Well,
this is
does
the
he like put it like where's he put it in? Like when
no, he
he
doesn't do the neck. No, no, no. That would be too bloody. That's like no, he
Okay.
does the stomach bleed. Which I mean,
Okay.
stomach bleeds on average. Like if they get you really good, you can bleed out in 20 minutes. Also, side
Wait, how do
note,
you know this?
I watched a I watched this knife special about like
Of
police
course
like
you did.
well,
I watched a knife special.
of course I did. I have many interests. Um
Mm.
and this is actually wasn't something I looked up. I was given to me by a coworker, and he sent
Mm.
it to me. And it was a 1980s, again the 80s. My heart.
Mm.
It's a 1980s police training video about how to deal with knife, like close encounter knife fights and stuff. And
Mm.
they're talking about like stay away from mail slots because people can put a sword through a mail slot. And they showed you different styles of like um,
What?
doing different moves. I think the craziest
Honestly, I
part,
want to see that. I want to see
send it
just
to
a
you. I'll send
sword go
it to
through
you.
the mail slot.
Oh gosh, it was brilliant. And there was a meat cleaver, and they also did a reenactment of cave people. I know this is not what I'm supposed to be reviewing, but it's absolutely brilliant. But the one thing I really got out of it, and I was like, wow, that's a good thing to know if I ever get stabbed, is that if you get stabbed on like your internal organs on your stomach and stuff like that, lay
Mm.
on top of it because that keeps pressure. And that way you can last longer. Because if you're on your back and you're bleeding out, everyone knows keep the knife in. I mean, I feel like they
Hmm.
teach us that in school. I don't,
They
and,
didn't teach you that in Shrek because Shrek got that like arrow in his butt or
well,
something and they
yeah,
pulled it out, and you're not supposed to do that.
you're supposed to leave it in there until you can get someone to like cauterize you or like stitch you up or whatever. So they're saying like, oh, if you're like you can't don't be on your back holding it in because you're still gonna like lose some blood and get like lightheaded. You got to flip over if you can onto your stomach and use your body weight to keep it intact.
Mm.
Anywho, knife.
Anywho,
Knife fightings and samurais. Um, so the Katana Gang is like, making a name for themselves. They're just like fucking up LA. They're like running that shit. They're a very small gang. I love all the goons like in their gang. Mullets, 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 mullets. It was lots of mullets and lots of
Mm,
people wearing like really like whitewashed dirty jeans with like white shoes, which I hate cringe over.
mm,
Um, so the LA police, there's Officer Frank, and like he's not the captain, but he convinces the captain to bring up the Samurai Joe, which is
Samurai Joe.
yeah, his name is like yeah, Samurai Joe. Like he shows up, and the first thing I see him, I'm like, is that bitch wearing a wig? Because his hair is no seriously, his hair is so thick and luscious, and he's wearing a ball cap
Mm.
sitting like on top of the hair, and he's this beautiful ponytail. And
Okay, if his hair is soft and luscious and he's wearing a baseball cap, that's a wig. That's
I
not
know, I
possible.
know. I was like, that's a Britney thing. Like right there, we learned that like years
Yeah,
ago.
it's Britney,
Lindsay,
bitch.
yeah, exactly. I was like, Amanda, we learned this from the girls. We learned it.
Mm,
Wigs and hats, wigs and hats. So
that's how you do it.
he's like, Joe comes up, samurai, like Samurai Joe or whatever. I think they just call him the samurai.
Mm,
Mm, there's so many. He's just misogynistic. I don't like him, so I try to blink him
mm,
out as much as possible. So Frank and him meet, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna like get them." And I know there's like samurai saying that like I know that there's a big coke deal coming on, and I'm up
mm.
here to help you bust it up in LA because he got transferred up from San Diego. So he's on loan from San Diego, and he's coming up with his friend Frank vouched for him. They're gonna do a coke bust. Okay, I think that if you're gonna do a cocaine bust, you would have more than two officers with you. These dudes are in an unmarked car. They're not wearing uniforms. They don't even have the little like ice cube chain badge,
Mm.
Like no one's gonna know. And they're like, all right, cool, we're gonna go to this marina and bust a coke deal. And then all of a
You
sudden,
never
they're
trust
on the
those
coke.
marinas.
I don't look, let me tell you, I've seen a lot of bad things in a marina. A lot of bad things. And these guys, they go to the marina because they're following this questionable blue van. This blue van looks like a raper van, but it also looks like a rocker van because it's like midnight
Mm.
blue. It's one of those, the ones that like look more square and they have like the painted sides. Like you see guys have like the painted like Valkyrie on the side or sexy lady riding a saddle or whatever. This
It's
one had like
sort of, yeah.
yeah, it's some kind of weird, creepy van. But this one was poorly painted with like a mountain range, and it looked like spotlights, or it was supposed to be a darkened sun, or I don't know. It looked like they got it from a junkyard for this movie so they could fuck it up.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. Also, the goon guys that are like with the Katana Gang in this van, they're just like hanging around with these like oversized pistols, just like, yeah, we're here to get the coke. Then
Book
they're going
time.
they're going to the marina. The creepy, like we'll just call it like the creep van full of goons. They're going to the marina. Joe and Frank, samurai, they're driving, and they're like, oh, we can't chase them too close. We're gonna call Peggy. Now Peggy they call her policewoman Peggy because
Okay.
she can't just like they're always like, oh, it's policewoman that lady cop Peggy, and she's like the foxy.
Honestly, I would never trust anyone named Peggy. Like, I mean, no offense if you're named Peggy, but if you're
Yeah,
in an emergency, you don't call a Peggy.
hell no.
Well,
Well,
you call like an Amanda or an Aubrey.
oh, I would never think to call an Aubrey. I would
Well,
definitely.
you haven't called enough Aubrey's apparently,
Why?
because they get shit done.
Do they really? I was
Yeah.
gonna say Betrietta, or maybe like a Courtney.
Okay. Or them too, you know.
I'm just saying.
But it starts with Aubrey.
It starts with Aubrey. Aubrey's A. Let's start at the beginning. We're working down the phone tree list,
Right.
alphabetical. Don't get crazy.
But you
Don't.
don't call it Peggy. I'm telling you.
Peggy is way down there. Peggy's like last resort. Peggy's your third cousin you don't want to call.
Right.
Don't care. Hi,
Wasn't one
cousin.
of the sisters in Hamilton named Peggy? Have you seen Hamilton? Heard the
No,
soundtrack?
I'm one of those people. I haven't seen it.
No. Well, it's
'Cause
on
I'm
Disney
trash.
Plus.
I'm trash. I haven't seen it. I just didn't have the time or the money. I'm trash. I'm sorry. I'm uncultured. I watch things like Samurai Cop instead of going to the theater and celebrating real thespians who do it better on stage.
There's like in Hamilton, there's like three sisters, and they're like Tabitha, Eliza, and then I think the third one is named Peggy, and they're like,
Wait,
"I'm
hold on.
Peggy,
Oh,
womp womp, Peggy."
womp womp womp. I'm forgotten. My name's Peggy. I hang in the corner with the brooms. Like, cool. Oh, sadness. Okay,
Okay, so
action. It's Peggy.
back to the cops.
It's time. Yeah, we're really derailing today. So Peggy, the lady cop, she is in the helicopter for the police department, and they are on two-way radio in this unmarked cop car, and they're like, "Hey, Peggy, what you doing?" She's like, "I'm about to land," and they're like, "Nope, put her back up." She goes, "Oh, I can get it up." Okay,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's like that. So they're just like, "Ooh, yeah, bet you can get it up." They're having this conversation on the police radio.
Okay.
And she's like, all right, cuckoo, like we're following them. I see the van. I see the van. I see the boat. Okay, I see the thing. Cool. And then they have like another like sexual joke. And
Hmm.
then they're like, we're gonna chase the van. So Joe and Frank, they're chasing the van, chasing the van. The van starts shooting at them. And the only line that Samurai says the whole time is shoot, 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 shoot. And Frank's just like shooting and missing, and I'm like, "What kind of cop are you?" Like, oh god, like what the fuck, dude?
Oh.
And they're shooting at them, and then finally, like, they do hit one of the goon guys, and he rolls out of the van,
Hmm.
and Frank's like, "Slow down!" And then Samurai's like, "Oh well, he's a bad guy," and just like runs over him. Uh, yeah, and I was like, "Oh,
Speed bump.
I was like, that was graphic." So then after that, a few more goons get, shot. Okay. They make it up to the canyon, which if you understand like LA, I don't know how they made it up with no traffic. They went from a marina and then they made it up to the hills.
Mm.
No traffic, high speed chase with guns. And no police backup. Plot holes. Plot holes.
Plot holes.
Yeah, I was like, not in LA, not even in the 90s. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Almost out of my teeth. So they make it up to the mountains, and Joe and Frank are still chasing them. And then finally, like the van driver he gets shot in the neck and runs into a cliff face. The van catches
Oh.
on fire, and the driver gets out, and he's running around on fire. And they're just like, grab the blanket and the fire extinguisher from the trunk. What? Who has a wool blanket and a fire extinguisher in their trunk? They planned
I personally do, and I feel very offended that you think that's uncommon.
well, you also live in Four Seasons, and you never know what's gonna happen. You
That's true.
never know. I was like, oh yes, you never know, darling. You never
Actually,
know.
there's nothing in my trunk besides some trash and like probably some dead bodies. So
I'm very valuable. It's
mm.
treasure in your trunk.
Treasure in my trunk.
Yes. Oh, this part was been boring, right? But it's about to turn up. Turn the
Ooh.
thermostat up because once this gang member gets caught, because all the other dudes are dead, right? This guy, the guy that's the driver, and he had the coke, whatever. His lips are burned off, his whole body's burned. He's like wrapped up. He's in a hospital. You know,
Mm.
Joe and Frank get called into the captain's office, and he's like, "You guys are pieces of shit. You're fucking assholes. You're gonna make me lose my pension." He's like, "Oh, but go get those bad guys." Like we killed a bunch of people, but we're still good guys. Go on out. And they go to visit the hospital, and this guy, there's like, "Is he going to be ready to talk yet?" And again, here's Joe. He has like weird sexual innuendos with people. Oh, I almost missed out. Peggy and Joe had sex.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, Peggy. I mean, I don't know about Peggy.
See, that's the whole thing. Like when she was in the helicopter and like the man was on fire, she said, "Good job. It's time to celebrate." And
Mm.
then they had this kind of like weird softcore porn scene where she was like wearing a thong and her hair is down, her tits were out. Again, tit count. I had to go back and count titties.
Mm.
I mean, there wasn't
So,
as many.
like, what number are we at by this point?
At this point, we're just at tit number one, tit set number one.
Okay,
Um,
but like, I mean, like I said, of two.
but I mean, like we saw her boobs for like a minute or two.
Okay, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
yeah we didn't
but
get to see.
she's not just like a uniboob kind of
No, no,
situation.
no, no. She has one, two
Okay,
tit set, tit set.
just wanted to
So
make sure.
Yeah. No, that would be interesting. I would definitely remember that. But yeah, yeah, she's like rolling her head around, and this is supposed to imitate sex, but like she has a thong on, and then they like pan down, they both have underwear on, and
Mm,
then she's like,
okay.
ah, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like,
That's how babies are made.
yeah, you just rub underwear, and that's how babies are made.
Mm,
Ew.
you just touch butts.
You're right. Holding hands makes babies. I don't know if you
Mm,
know that. Just watch out for hand holding.
a special hug.
Yeah, hugs that are too long makes babies. Well, at the hospital, Samurai Joe, because here's the thing, he thinks he's like good looking, and yeah, he's buff and he has beautiful hair, which I really, the whole time I kept on thinking, like, is it a wig? Because sometimes it would look flat, and
Mm,
sometimes it looked like he just got it out of a roller set that had been brushed out a bit. And this point in the hospital, he's not wearing a ball cap, thank God, because it doesn't serve him. He runs into a
mm,
nurse. She does not look like a nurse. She doesn't have her hair wrapped up properly. She looks like a fake doctor. Like all the women that are supposed to be like in this area that are like supposed to be the nurses, they're wearing like these like, 4 to 6 inch heels and
mm.
short skirts and long jackets, like a cake song. And like Joe's like, nurse, um, is he gonna be able to talk soon? She's like, maybe. And he's like looking at her. She's like, do you like what you see? And he's like, yes, I do. She's like, do you want to touch what you see? Yes, I do. And this is in the doorway of a patient. And then she's
Mm.
like, do you want to fuck? And I was like, what? That is
Wow.
vulgar. I was like,
Yeah.
girl, oh,
You
someone
don't
caught.
just ask if you
You
want to
want to ask
fuck
someone if
when
they
you
want.
want to fuck.
Well, that's the thing. This line of "Do you want to fuck" has been said a few. There's just a few more times where people are just like, Peggy says it later on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Where is their class?
Where is their class? There's lack
You
of it.
make butterfly eyelashes and go,
Yeah,
that's how you indicate you want to
do
fuck.
it. Yeah. Well, then she's like, "Well, let me see what you're working with," and then he's like, "Okay." So she comes up and cups him, and she goes, "Were you circumcised?" And he's like, "Yeah."
What?
Yes, yes. Over hands over close. She goes, "Oh, were you circumcised?" And he was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I think your doctor cut off a little too much." No, thanks.
Wow.
Right? Ooh.
Chippy choppy.
Yeah, I was like, damn. I was like, Queen, that was great. Like, snap, snap, get it, get it. Like, gross on
Mm,
Joe, because he's always like looking at girls like pervy, like, so, but the problem is this gang member, the goon member in the hospital. Okay,
mm,
so then Fujiyama, the guy that's the head of the Katana gang, he's like, no one gets captured in my gang and lives. We gotta send a message. He's like, I want his fucking head on my grand piano. So
mm,
that's when my homie G, who I love with his tiny ponytail, um, Yamashita, he's like, okay. So he goes to the hospital with the redhead lady. He puts him in like a laundry basket, and she's like puts like paper over him, and then they go in there. And the police that's like watching the door is like, "Oh, what are you doing, lady?" And she's like, I'm getting the trash." And then just has this huge cart, and they go in there, and then my little homie G with the tiny ponytail, always heard his name. Baby, what's your name? Yamashita. Yamashita goes in there and breaks out his katana again. He's dressed as the doctor, and he
mm,
slowly slices this guy's head off. So he cuts his cords first. So, he slices it in deep, and then he kind of saws. Which my thing is, katanas are not made for sawing, okay? They're made for like chop, chop. And the
mm,
whole time the redhead, they keep them like they don't, you see a little bit of the first cut, but then they kind of pan to her, and she's just like, like you can tell she's getting like sexually excited by this. She's like,
wow.
and I was like, ooh, this is a girl that's like she likes being in a gang, she likes blood, and she was just
Mm,
like. And the thing is, she goes, "Good job," and I was like, "Sex scene is coming."
mm,
So they get out of there, and then it gets like the police officer goes in, he sees the heads missing, they're sneaking out. A few police officers try to get them. Boop, 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 boop. They get into a fight. They get out of there with the head, and then my homie G with little ponytail and the redhead have sex. I guess anytime a woman says "good job," you get sex. Also, booby count number 2. I
mm.
mean, the thing is like everything's going good. All the gang members are having a great time. They're having sex. Well, guess what? Samurai Joe, he's like trying to chase down the leader again. He hears if they go to this place called the Blue Lagoon, that he will see where the gang hangs out. It just ends up that the gang like hangs out in this fancy restaurant that's owned by this girl named Jennifer and her mom, who her
Mm.
Jennifer's dad apparently committed suicide. Every
Oh.
hero needs a damsel to save. I don't care
Mm.
like what it is, but like the samurai's all like, I'm in love with this girl. And again, she's another blonde girl. And he's like, why are you hanging out with this the katana gang? And she's like, like they're really nice. They give us like $400,000 to save us. And I was like, girl, you are washing money. You are dumb. You are so dumb. Like, this is why this gang leader is giving you diamond rings randomly at a dinner party. Okay, he's
Mhm.
thinking that you're his. Like, you are
I
dumb.
mean, if someone gives me $400 for just about anything, I think the
You
attitude
and you're at
shifts a
that
little
point,
bit.
you're like, I'm for you, forever for you. Yeah, I mean, but Jennifer's all like, yeah, he's just really nice, like whatever. Like my dad killed himself, and this guy stepped in. I'm like, girl, I don't think your dad killed himself. I think,
Oh.
I think the Katana Gang killed her dad so that they could have the restaurant as the place to wash money. But they don't even say that
Mm-hmm.
in the movie.
Mystery.
This is me projecting onto the situation.
This movie
So
has layers, man.
there's layers. There are so much like potential layers. This could have been a delicious cake of action, but it was like a dumpy souffle that didn't make it.
Oh,
And I know.
poor
Wow.
souffle.
Poor souffle. They pulled it too early. Ooh, dust. Ooh. Oh no. Um, so Samurai falls in love with Jennifer, and then he starts doing stalker like behavior, and he's like telling the maitre d like like let her know that I like think she's fine. And then he like goes by there and he finds out where she goes to church, and then he goes to her church, and then he like
Yeah.
and then he's like, oh, it's your birthday, I'm gonna take you over to my house.
You
And like,
don't just show up at God's house
I
like
know,
that.
you don't show up on a Sunday dressed up like you went to church trying to pick up a girl and pretend that you heard the sermon. Like, sir, that is not
Sure.
cute. Sir, that is not, it's not cute. It's not cute because it's really creepy. It's very like Predator. And I was like,
Yes,
oh
sir.
God.
We are
Oh.
Presbyterians here.
But they're Episcopal. It's from
Oh,
Beverly
okay.
Hills.
We are
Sorry.
Episcopalians.
Details in the details. So all of a sudden the gang finds out that Jennifer's been hanging out with Samurai, and they're like, no, 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 no. They're like, we got to find out
Mm.
where this dude is, because he's like, he's messing with our money. Okay, so they start sending around all the other little goon babies to go jack him up, and the problem is the goon babies cannot fulfill this need. So then Yamashita gets his gang together, and he's like, the only way to get this done is if I do it. So what happens is Yamashita breaks up into two groups, and they go to like one of the police officers' homes. And one guy, they stabbed the guy's wife and then stabbed him. And then the other guy, Frank, who's Samurai's partner, almost got his dick chopped off.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then Peggy, they burned her with cooking oil.
Wait, go back to the dick getting chopped off. Like, there
Oh,
was
yeah,
his
it was
dick
Frank.
out?
No, no, no. You never saw Frank's dick. So here, the scene is that like he's getting out of the shower and he's in a towel, and then
Okay.
they were like, it's big," and they're like, "Bet you're gonna miss that once we take it
I bet
away."
he would miss that.
I
It's an
know.
accurate statement.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of weird like small dick jokes made in this movie, but that one I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, Frank's gonna get it. He's
Well, there's no
gonna
small
stick a fork
penises,
in his
only
hot
small
dog."
actors.
Oh, but I mean, the most cringy was Peggy. Good God, I didn't like her to begin with, but like
Mm.
she was like cooking, and I didn't like that she's pulling her skillet from her refrigerator. Like, why would you put an ice cold skillet onto your on your oven?
I'll
Or
tell
like,
you, someone named Peggy would do that.
Peggy is doing that.
My
Peggy's
apologies if there are any Peggies listening, but just consider going by like Pigster or like the Pigger. Actually, don't go by the Pigger. That's worse.
oh God. It's like the poker. Like, oh my God. No, no, no. Yeah, so yeah, she's cooking, she's like, heating up this thing, it looks like she's gonna fry something, and that is when Yamashita comes in, and he's like, tell me where Samurai lives, and she's like, no. And then the guys hold her down on the counter, and then they start pouring hot oil on her. So like,
Wow.
I'm imagining this hot oil, and they're like, you don't see exactly where they pour it because it's like, it's low tech, but it's like in the area of her cookie jar and her tummy. And so I'm just like, oh gosh, so she's wearing clothes. She's not naked, unlike Frank was. Frank was naked. So it's like cooking oil, holding that heat in, and then fusing like your flesh to your pants. Like,
Mm.
yeah, they're not gonna like. I don't know. She might retire after this incident, but she does end up telling Samurai's address to stop the. She's being tortured, so she did it. Frank was able to get a hold of Samurai, but it wasn't until the goons were at his house to come get him and Jennifer, the girl that he had kind of like coerced in spending her birthday at his random house in La Jolla.
Mm.
Rando. The weird part is like they have a shootout at the house, and have a shootout. He's like a wanderer. They have a shootout at the house, and then all of a sudden, like Yamashita's like, another day, and I'm like, what? You go around and pour hot oil on women's cookie jars. You go around and threaten cutting people's dicks, and you ran out of bullets, and now you're gonna go home? Like, what kind of warrior that lives by the code are you?
That's one messed up code. Sounds like to me.
Exactly. So, I mean,
It's no
all
Da
what
Vinci
does
Code.
the Da Vinci Code?
No code of conduct.
No. Oh
That's
yeah.
no
No.
code of codes. I don't know
Code.
many codes besides those two,
I'm
so
trying to think.
I ran out.
Oh, Morse code. Morse
Morse
code.
code. It's no
I
Morse code.
know. So at this point, Samurai and Jennifer know what's up. So Jennifer goes back to the restaurant thinking everything's okay, even though she got just attacked by the Katana gang, who she thought was her
Mm.
friend. They kidnap her. They take her up to Yamashita's mountainside cabin out in the woods. Samurai and Frank, they go out there. They start kicking ass. They're shooting. And then sword fights happen. And this is like getting to the end where like everything's falling apart. Really like the head dude, oh, what's his name? Fujiyama. So Fujiyama is like holding Jennifer like in the house, and he's like, no one's gonna get me. And so there becomes this point where like Jennifer's like neck is up to a blade, and Frank and Samurai are just like, we're gonna shoot you, but they don't because the blade. And he's like, Samurai's like, no, this is the one I love, even though they only had one pool party thingy, one meal together, one lay down in the bed. They really only hung out for like a couple hours, but he was like, I'm in love.
Oh.
Tough exterior, but I love this woman, even though
Mm.
I've only like spent 6 hours with her. So Fujiyama is all like, I'm gonna kill this bitch. I don't give a fuck about her. And they're like, okay, we're gonna put our guns down. And that's when Fujiyama was like, I'm gonna get away now. And then they ended up like stabbing him. And then the last battle is between like Samurai and my little lover Yamashita.
Mm.
They do a hand by hand, like they do guns at first, then they're like, let's be men and fight with swords, and then their swords get dropped, and then they do by a hand battle, and then the swords come back and they do a hand battle. Well, in the end, Samurai Joe just like twists the shit out of Yamashita's arm, and so Yamashita admits defeat, and he asked to be killed because of the honor of the samurai. And Booba Samurai is like, no, because Frank says, no, Samurai, you're a cop. And so he stops and drops the katana. And then Yamashita
Yeah.
pulls out his big old steak knife that he carries in his coat. And he
As
cuts
one
off.
does.
As one does. As well, we know Yamashita, he carries these knives. He cuts people's heads off. He cuts
You want
his
some
own
knives, kid?
Oh yeah. And then they recycled the scene of Samurai and Jennifer like playing on the beach together in these matching thongs. And that was it.
Okay.
I
Wait,
mean,
okay. So the samurai is wearing a thong too?
yeah, when they have so in that scene where he's kind of like harass this girl enough times that she'll go out with him.
Mm-hmm.
In he fakes the whole church date thing, and then they
Mm-hmm.
go to his house. She was in her church clothes, yet he had a thong bikini for her, and he had a thong swimsuit,
Oh,
and
okay.
they matched. So they had this little like play on the like California code thing.
Twinsies.
Yeah, it was cute. It was kind of gross. I mean, it was really like the camera kept on like panning to their butts, and I was like,
Mm.
whoever did this is like, oof. It's just ouch. And
Let's
that's
hope
my
it's a
story.
wide thong, just enough to cover the
Well, his
little.
is more kind of like a banana hammock, and hers was one of those like '90s high waist, like cuts you on top of your legs thing, so it shows a little bit of your waist. It's weird.
Okay.
Like I was like, do you like? Do you know? Do you know, sir? Do you know?
Mm.
So yeah, this movie. What do I think about it? I think there's lots of plot holes. I think it's misogynistic out the wazoo. I think it
Mm.
shows police brutality like crazy. I think it definitely plays up the whole like blonde girls are sluts and bimbos. It makes a lot of weird like racist jokes between Samurai and Frank.
Mm.
And but it's weird because Frank's telling them and he's African American and he's making like weird like jokes about black people. Um and I was like, this feels very, it's just lots of uncomfortableness. Um
Uncomfortableness.
yeah, uncomfortableness. Like it's definitely dated. Um, and the quality's not well, and the sound's not great, and the special effects are awful. And even like when I think action, it's shoot 'em up, blow 'em up, right? The
Hmm.
only blow it up we had was the guy that got burned out of the van.
So, I mean, in conclusion, it sounds like this is definitely the must-see movie of
In conclusion,
our lifetimes.
if you like sexist, misogynistic, racist, terrible cop abusing movies, yes.
Somewhere there's like a Donald Trump supporter that's just, like, fuck yes.
Well, the thing is, it says it's a cult classic. And I'm like, for whom? And then I started thinking about it and I was like, yeah, make America great dudes, like the MAGA dudes, MAGA dudes, or
America.
America. Like, they would definitely be like, dude, this is a classic. I would pause it. No, literally, I would pause this movie, scream, go to the kitchen and treat myself with a scoop of ice cream, come
Hmm.
back, and then watch a little bit more until it got cringy again. And I had to scream or laugh my ass off because I was in pain
Hmm.
mentally and go get ice cream to treat myself for my good behavior of finishing something I started.
You just have to, pace yourself, which
I,
is kind
I,
of like the movie I watched. So,
yeah. Oh, please start telling me about your movie. Please start
uh,
telling me about your movie.
Fubo TV is the live TV streaming platform with more top Nielsen ranked sports, news, and entertainment channels for cord cutters than any other live platform.
Cut the cord.
You cut that. Its base package, Fubo Standard, is available for $64.99 per month and features more than 100 channels, personal cloud DVR storage, and 2 simultaneous streams with no contract or set-top box required. Get Fubo.tv on the web, on popular mobile phones, on tablets, and connected and smart TVs. I've been using it, and it's great. So,
I
watched the
love
Oscars
it.
last night.
Oh, snap. Dig it. No box, no cord. I can get down for that because I don't like clutter. And this sounds like a great way for me to watch those things on TV. Then I don't have to pay cable. And I can always get behind that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and it's good for like sports, it's good for news, it's good for your local channels. You get the local channels, which is really nice. You don't get that with every other live streaming thing. So I am super fond of Fubo, and if you follow the link in our show notes, you can get a 7-day free trial. Hey.
Hey, fight night. Let's do it for free.
All right, so
Yes.
we are back from our break, and
Break it out.
I'm going to be talking about Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Ribbit, ribbit.
That actually is a good impression of the ribbiting.
Oh
in
my
this
gosh.
movie.
Oh, cool. I'm channeling my frog people.
I will say there were some good performances from frog people. That really was the only silver lining here.
Oh, I can't wait because I have so many questions.
So,
you pick the good ones and I just pick the horrible ones.
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
So, this movie was released in 1988. It was produced by Donald G. Jackson and R.J. Kaiser with help from Randall Frakes. And apparently, these people are like friends with James Cameron and worked on the Terminator movies.
Whew, okay.
Hmm. It stars Roddy Piper, who was a wrestler that went by Rowdy Piper.
No, it sounds like a porn name.
I mean, this movie was fairly pornographic, to be fair.
Okay, cool. Then we're just everything in the 80s is really just it's like a softcore porn.
They were like, let's just show some titties. So
titties.
also starred Sandal Bergman, who played the like characters in Conan the Barbarian and Red Sonja.
Red
So,
Sonja.
yeah.
Red Sonja.
I think it was a spinoff of Conan, maybe.
Okay, okay. I feel like I'm not that well versed in like 80s cartoons.
I haven't seen it myself, so
okay. You know, I feel
we're on the same page there.
Okay, good.
So basically, this movie, it's an action movie.
Yes.
It's kind of like a spoof of like Mad Max and like apocalyptic action films of the time. It starts out and tells you that there's been this nuclear war that has reduced the male population by 68%.
Okay, wait. Who dropped the bomb? 1, 2, 68%.
I know. And it's like, if this movie is so like filled with filthy jokes, like you are one digit off from making
like you should have just done it because you're dumb. You know, we were thinking, why wasn't it 69?
Right.
Like, why are you playing with our emotions?
And so already we've like missed an opportunity here. So, and it was just like an argument. It doesn't even say, it just says like there was an argument and they thought they could resolve it with a few bombs, but then more bombs went off and a bunch of people died.
Oh, so they didn't make this into like a Cold War situation where they were like, it was the commies that did it first.
No, there's no finger waving here, so I guess maybe that's a positive. But
I feel like that's neutral. I can dig that.
Yeah, it was made by the Swiss people, Switzerland. But yeah, sorry.
Don't be. I like watching your brain think. I can see it.
I was just like, are the Swiss people from Sweden or Switzerland?
That's what was going Switzerland. Don't worry, I said he spoke Japan. Like we're having a geography issue, and it's not our fault. We are American, and we went to public school.
It's the system's fault.
It's the system's fault. We both went to the same university. We both went to public education, and this is why we say things like this out of pocket, because we just have to think about it.
That is true. So, anyway. But at least, you know, we've still got 68% of men, I think. And
right. Whether they are worthy, I do not know.
Honestly, I feel like these movies are what happens when straight men have too much time on their hands. Like don't you have a lawn to mow or something?
No, because, well, I mean, once cornhole gets too boring and you run out of beer, I guess you start thinking about apocalypse games and going, what would you do in apocalypse? Which I had someone ask me that the other day, and I was like, I don't know, probably be dead because I wouldn't make it.
Well, apparently in this world, there is a lot of women tripping over men to have sex with them. So, right, puke. So most of the survivors are sterile as a result of like the nuclear radiation or whatever. Yeah. And so the women that are fertile, as well as the few remaining men that are potent, are like sought after. It starts out, there's like this little dispute between this like frog man and this other guy, and they're fighting over this like little statue of the Statue of Liberty. The frog guy shoots the other guy, and you never see these people again, but you just hear him go, and then it goes into the titles, which I thought the titles were actually kind of good. But you know, they looked profesh. Like they hired someone.
They got someone out of school with a graphic design degree, and they wanted to do their first project. They're like, "You'll get famous, kid. Don't worry."
Yeah.
Okay, cuckoo.
So then it goes into this thing with Mr. Hellman. He is the Hell who is going to Frogtown. He's in
Wait,
prison.
the hell, he's the hell man.
Yeah, like Hellman, like the mayonnaise.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, is he the gatekeeper of the frog hell? Okay.
I think he's the
Woo!
gatekeeper of the mayonnaise, of the
Okay.
mayo,
Oh, the mano. Okay. The mano.
the
The mano
mano.
mayonnaise. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
And he apparently is very potent because he is in jail for sex crimes. Our protagonist, yay.
Awesome. Pervert. Okay, cool.
He's like basically getting beat up by this cop who apparently his daughter had accused him of sexual assault. And then a nurse comes in and she's like, oh, she changed her story. And, which is like, this is not off to a good start. Um,
No.
and then they're
No.
like, we can drop all of the charges against you, but you have to go on a mission for us.
What?
Okay. Yeah.
Apocalypse world. Let's
So then the mission he finds out from these nurses is that he has to go to Frogtown, where there are fertile women that have been captured and are being held captive, and he has to save them so that he can impregnate them.
Oh. Okay. Oh, I thought Frogtown was a town made of mutant frog people
Oh, Trinity. It
this
is.
whole time.
It
Oh
is.
no! Oh no! You know how I feel about mutants and zombies. No. Okay, I'm out, but I'm in. Okay. Okay.
Just
Oh
buckle up is all I
no.
can say.
Okay. I'm just not emotionally equipped for this today. Continue.
Okay.
Okay.
So he then goes on this journey with like this female nurse lady who works for the government, the provisional government,
Uh-huh.
and this like warrior chick who like has this like giant gun thing. Um,
Sweet. I'm
well,
liking this Mad Max thing.
I mean, every time there's like an empowered woman in this film, she's basically like loses her autonomy and is stripped naked eventually. So that's
Oh
just kind of
no.
like
Oh
what you can
no.
expect here. And
88? It was made in 88?
yeah, 88. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So and the warrior lady, her name is like Sentinella or something. Like she sounds like an
Zinta
STD.
Vanilla? she she
Scent of
sounds like a
vanilla.
candle, like a Glade, like plug it in.
She's an STD flavored candle.
Yeah, I love it. Centinella. Okay,
Hmm.
sweet.
So in order to keep him under control, they have this electronic chastity belt that they put around him. And when he runs off, the nurse, she has little earrings and she can
Yeah,
press them and it zaps him in the groin, which that is like, the only part of the movie where
counterproductive.
I'm like, well, it
I
is
mean, that's
counterproductive.
great. It's great because that's I've always wanted to electrocute someone in the like the balls, but same time counterproductive to what they want to do, which is they need his stuff intact. I mean,
Right.
why couldn't they just have a thing that choked him or something? I don't know.
I don't know. That is the question. So they take off. They're in this like pink vehicle because it's driven by women.
Of
Um,
course. Because they have loads of paint in the apocalypse to paint all the cars pink for women.
right.
And priorities.
And then you're finding out more about the women that have been captured by the frog people. He tries to run off a couple of times. She does the little boom, boom, boom thing. Eventually he tries to sleep with the warrior lady, but then the nurse comes in and she's like, we can't have any of that, and also you have on a chastity belt. um
Oh
and there is
no.
full nudity of the warrior lady, so we see her titties.
Oh, but I bet we don't see his junk.
No, yeah, there's no penises in
See,
this
this is
movie.
what I don't like. It's just like full on tatas and bush babes. And like, what? That's okay because it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
What?
There is one part though. I really thought they were gonna show some penises and they didn't, and I was thankful. I'll get to that.
Okay. It's probably the frog dicks, and I'm not into it.
Oh, is it?
Oh no.
So the nurse, she does a strip tease for him a couple times to like because she says that's supposed to like help him stay fertile or something crazy. They
No.
eventually find a woman that's like running in the wilderness that they discover was like running away from Frogtown, and essentially they like drug her and then the guy has sex with her, and it is
No.
like awful. um
No.
but
No.
she acts like she's into it, so yeah.
Uh-huh. Um, oddly enough, I'm like imagining this nurse lady, like, was the earring like turquoise and like gold?
They were just like white earrings, like
Oh,
circles.
that's lame. I wanted them to be like
Yeah.
something fun. I
It
wanted her to
looks
have
like
like
an Apple
bright.
product.
Oh
It looks
yeah.
like this.
Oh,
It
it
was
looks like
basically
that. Oh,
this.
okay. So they, yeah, so they knew what was going to happen in the future. They got that right. But I'm just imagining this like kind of like 1950s dress lady with like red hair and like a little thingy being like, that will do.
No, she just has on like well, she has on like a very like sexy nurse outfit, like, you know, kind of like the like smock thing, and then she has on these big glasses that she takes off.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then eventually they get to Frogtown and they
Yeah.
decide like how they're gonna like disguise themselves is that she is going to pretend to be his slave. And so then she's in this like BDSM gear, sort of like
The
it
nurse?
reminds what's that?
The nurse or the
Yeah,
warrior
the
lady?
nurse, the nurse.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's kind of the mastermind of this whole thing.
Oh.
But it reminds me of like Princess Leia and like Return of the Jedi when she's like chained up to the slug thing,
Yeah.
Jabba the
Yeah.
Hutt.
Yeah.
So
Java.
yeah,
I
it's
get
just
that. It's a plot, but it wasn't really a plot. Like, I
yeah,
mean, it was like, it was a planned plot, but then it wasn't. It was kind of
yeah.
like fake them out. Okay, cuckoo.
So the one part I was like, okay, I do like the scene. I like the shot. I like what they were doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they go to like this bar and you see this woman and she's dancing and it's all very sexy, sexy, sexy. And then it's like gradually the camera goes up into her head and you realize that she's a like frog person.
Okay, so like I am assuming that they're doing like sexy human body, and then they have like
Mhm.
a weird rubber frog head on
Yeah.
top.
Have you ever
Okay.
seen the live action Super Mario Brothers?
Wait, yeah, the one where they
Yeah.
had the Goombas?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
I love the Goombas.
Yeah. That's what the frog people look like. It's like the same
Oh,
type of
okay.
prosthetic.
Okay, cool. I can totally handle that. I can totally handle it. I love the Goombas. I thought it was so great when they danced together and they're on the grate and they went Goomba, Goomba. Sorry, that's like a really happy moment for me.
No, yeah, that I have fond memories of that movie, even if it did
Yeah.
slightly traumatize me as a child. So,
Yeah, it's gross, but it's great.
so
Okay, so that's not so bad. But why are they is it because of the radiation and like they're like someone got bit by a frog and that's why they're half frog, half human or
I honestly don't even remember if they explained that. I assume it was the radiation.
That's okay. Plot hole. Plot hole. Plot hole.
There's just the city of frog people.
So
And
right, it was
yeah. And then eventually, okay, so the guy and the nurse lady, they both get captured.
oh no.
And there's this giant frog that decides he wants the chastity belt for some reason, and he has this
Okay.
giant chainsaw, and he's like, I'm going to get that.
Oh wait,
Ah.
do they wait, but they're actually like talking in like English? Like
Oh yeah, they speak English.
okay. So they
Yeah,
don't talk in a frog language and then they have translators. Okay.
yeah. And also like I think this was before this. At some point, there's okay, so that frog lady that was dancing, she
Yeah.
decides that she wants to get it on with the guy,
Yeah.
even though she's a frog and he's a human. And he like wakes up on a couch and she's like, I love you. And then
Okay,
she's
no.
like straddling him and she's like, just promise me you won't be gentle.
Oh
And
my.
then at first he's like, no, we can't do this. And then eventually he's like, okay, here, we will do this, but you have to put a bag over your head.
No, no, he did not.
He did. He did.
No,
Asshole.
you don't ask a lady to put a bag over her head, whether she has a
Especially a
frog head or
frog
not.
lady.
Yeah,
She's been
that's
through
so
enough.
fucking rude. He
I
could
know.
have. He could have done doggy style. He
Well-
could have closed his eyes. They could have done reverse cowgirl. There's so many ways they could have gone around that, and that's rude. And I'm upset for her.
Well, this is really the part where I think that was when they came and took him to like chain him up and try to like chainsaw off his chastity belt.
Doesn't the nurse have the key?
She's in a separate location.
Oh shit.
She is with the other women and kind of like the harem, and they are teaching her the dance of the three snakes. Okay.
Because the snakes will rescue them.
So I'll get to that in a second. But
Okay.
So like they're trying to the giant frog guy, he's like trying to chop off the chastity belt and it doesn't work because he's out of gas in the chainsaw.
Oh, thank
And
God.
well, then he gets more gas, and you're like, oh, I guess it is.
How are they getting gas in an apocalypse?
I know. I thought of Mad Max, and I'm like, there was such a struggle for gas in Mad Max, and they just have like, because you also see a scene where they're putting gas into the pink car too, and I'm like, no,
you're not gonna have gas. Now, if he had like someone on a like bicycle pedaling to make a battery thing and then an electrical cord, cool, but I don't believe in this gas thing. I don't.
Or a samurai sword, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Call up
Where's
Samurai
your
Cop.
katana?
So
Dummies. Okay, plot holes.
So he manages to get this thing off of his body without damaging him somehow.
Oil.
But then, yeah. It's apparently like programmed. Oh yeah, because it's a thing about it. If he ever wanders off too far, it's programmed to explode. So then it's like the frog guy is holding it and it starts going off like and the frog guy explodes.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, that happened. Then we go to
Well, that's a thing.
the nurse. It's a thing. A frog exploded.
Yeah, it's a thing. Oh.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
He was a good friend of mine.
So then we go to the lady. She's learning this dance of the three snakes. We then discover that she is learning this dance because she is going to provocatively dance for one of the giant frog people. And the purpose is that she is going to arouse him, and the three snakes are his three penises.
Oh, do frogs really have three penises?
I don't know, and I don't want to Google it.
I'm Googling it right now, and I won't tell you anything.
do not Google that.
I'm Googling it right now, and I'm not going to tell you shit. No, I'm really looking at restaurant reviews. No, I'm going to Google it right now. Well, because how many hearts are in a worm? Tell me that.
Like, I don't know.
10 on average.
10. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because they care about us. And then the birds come and eat them.
Oh, it's really weird because you know how like Google fills in stuff, autofills? It says, how many penises do sharks have? Which makes me want to go down this hole of how many penises do things have.
Some animals have multiple penises. There was an SNL sketch where they joked about Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars having 17 dicks, and I've never been able to get that image out of my mind.
I didn't. Oh, well, now I gotta watch that one. Okay.
It was with like Natalie Portman. She did a rap, and she was like, Say something about the motherfucking prequels, bitch. Say something
Yeah.
about Jar Jar Binks and his 17 dicks.
What?
I liked it. It was good.
Oh, guess what?
But
Guess how many they have?
is it 3?
No.
Is it 1?
No.
Is it 28?
No.
How many?
It's 0 penises.
0. Oh, wow.
Right?
Huh.
Which I feel like they told us that in school, but I don't know anything about Google.
I guess this is something we just also blame on the nuclear radiation. So
Yeah. 3 penises. Well, if he's like part human, part frog, I guess.
yeah,
Whatever.
he could grow a couple extra. But
Yeah. I thought for some reason when you said the dances of the 3 snakes, I thought that the women were doing a dance that would bring upon the snake gods to come and
no,
eat the frogs.
I wish.
That would have been a great twist.
But no, yeah, that didn't happen. But you do see. Okay, so I was super concerned. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna see these like frog penises. I don't want to see this.
Oh, this is the penis part. Yeah.
But yeah, she like the frog guy, he like lifts up his like little tunic thing, and then she just like punches him 3 times, and she's like, uh, uh, uh. Then they escape, and they're still being chased by the frog people. I'm not gonna say how it ends, but I will say there are 2 sequels, so make of that what you want, what you will. So overall, I felt like the movie, it was pornographic, it was misogynistic,
Yeah.
which seems to be a theme tonight.
Right? Just action. Apparently, these things just go hand in hand. Oof, woof.
I will say, I do think the acting, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was like what I would expect from an action movie.
Yeah. This was mine was definitely like below. Like I was expecting like a James Bond-esque, but like a little lower quality. This
Yeah.
was definitely dumpster. The worst part is mine also has a sequel, but they
Yeah.
didn't make the sequel until 2015. The first one was
What?
released in 91, and then they made a sequel, Samurai Cop 2, released in 2015. It makes no sense. Most of the original crew did make it for the return, except for Yamashita, the guy that played Yamashita. I guess they're gonna have like, I don't know, him playing a different self or something. But the actor that played Yamashita passed away in 2015. So
Well, the sequels to this movie were Return to Frogtown in 1993, direct to VHS, and then Toad Warrior in 1996, that was later re-released as Max L Frog Warrior in 2002.
woof.
Back in the day, Netflix was the only kid on the block when it came to online streaming. Now there's Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Discovery Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, Apple TV Plus, just to name a few.
It's harder than ever to decide what to watch and where to watch it. Shall I stream it? It's your news source for all things streaming, with news and reviews of movies, shows, and streaming services themselves. You'll never miss out on top streaming shows again.
Visit shallistreamit.com to get started and subscribe to email updates to stay in touch when you get there. Shallistreamit.com. No spaces or periods or anything.
Just streaming.
And I made it. So you go there.
You go there and you like it, you betcha. Otherwise, I'm coming after you. Leave a review. Give us a thumbs up. Or we're coming.
All right. Welcome back. So we have discussed some shitty action movies.
Shit.
But as a palate cleanser, we do have our neglected movie trivia.
Okay.
So, do you want to
Let's
go
go
first? Journey?
first. I don't know. One of these days we're gonna have to rock paper scissors over who goes first. Because
Okay.
oh goodness.
I'll go
No.
first.
Okay. Yes. Go first.
Okay. I was like, for a second there, I was like, oh, you were gonna go first, but oh well.
I have it right here. I can go first right now.
Okay, you go first.
Okay, cool. So, sticking with my movie of Samurai Cop and just like
Mm.
weird curiosities, and on the theme and sake of action, I mean, when you think of like 80s action, who do you think of like for actors?
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone.
Bingo! Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone. Apparently, I do not know how to pronunciate things like words and names.
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone. So, in the 80s, he's like big action star, he's all cool, he does all these films, right? My trivia fact is one of his bodyguards was a little punk kid named Matthew Caradias who wanted to be a movie star. And he was trained in action. And what? He changed his name to Matt Hannon and he became the Samurai Cop. So if it wasn't for Sylvester Stallone telling some punk ass kid that was a bodyguard that he really was good looking and can be a movie star, we would not have the movie Samurai Cop.
Mind
So,
blown.
scene. Like, why? He should have never said anything. But no, Matt Hannon is still acting.
Mm.
Which is great. And you know what? His hair is real. I thought it was a wig. I told you so many times. It really is real, and he still has that long hair.
Wow. Well, good for him being able to maintain that hair with hats on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Getting it. What's your trivia?
My trivia. So in the movie that I watched, Hell Comes to Frogtown, there was a minor character whose name was William, or the actor's name was William Smith, not to be confused with Will Smith.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and Will Smith's actual name is Willard.
That's my dad's middle name.
Really?
Yeah. Which you don't hear that name very often. I was just like, I like how you're like Willard. And I'm like, it's my dad's middle name. Like, but it is
Full name
Willard.
is Willard Carroll Smith Jr. So
I mean, he sounds regal. The fact that he only got a
does sound
small
regal.
part is a shame. Because with a name like that, you have big promises.
I mean, you could be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with that
Hell
name.
yes. Of course you could. Of course you could. There is no doubt about that.
No,
That's the kind of name that carries you places. Anytime you have Junior, the second, or the third, you're going places.
My name was almost Lawrence James Davis III. So
You were so close to being like super regal.
I was so close.
So close. So close.
Instead, my initials spell mad.
Oh yeah, mine's spelled tack. Yeah.
Together
Tack.
we're Mad Tack.
Oh my gosh. Tack mad. We can spike you and cut you with our samurai skills.
So on that note.
Poisonous frogs.
Listening.
Apocalypse. We're over it. I'm done.
We will be back next week with a very exciting episode. I will be choosing the category, and I have not chosen it yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess I could just choose one on the fly.
What are you going to tell me? I feel like this is a secret.
Okay. I've got one.
Okay.
Category is LGBT OMG.
OMG.
The OMG is whatever you want it to be.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that a thing I don't know about?
No.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, so we can do any kind of camp fun? I'm excited.
Yeah, any kind of like LGBT movie.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
But it has to be bad. All right. Well, thank you for listening, all. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.